Hey guys, I'm testing out this podcast format. There are a few audio issues. I apologize for that. And you're also going to hear me talk a little bit about a second half of the podcast that we didn't record because of technical issues and people dropping out. So yeah, enjoy. Welcome everyone to the Dustaholics podcast, the only podcast on the internet that is also a gun. I am your host, Aaron. Joining me today we have Steven and Andrew, who know me from various things and have various qualifications and stuff. Yeah, explain those qualifications. Yeah, hooray, okay, moving on.
You go first, Steven. Yours are more impressive,
okay,
Steven.
So, no. Let's just move on. You missed your shot. Your shot.
Wow, what a
Okay,
dick.
so...
I didn't know who you were specifying to.
I was specifying to whoever was gonna jump at it first, but neither of you,
Steven, you go
neither
first.
of you
Go.
deserve the chance to introduce yourselves.
We're just too
Yeah,
polite,
okay.
that's it.
Yeah,
So,
that's it.
we're doing a thing where we're watching Volume 1, and then next week we're watching Volume 2, and so on, leading up to the release of Volume 4, and at the end of the podcast today, we're also going to be talking about all the Volume 4 hype and news and stuff, and some community
have a trailer
spotlights,
that
and
just came
I
out.
am putting up probably annotations to different parts of the video right now. Ooh. Go click on them. Okay, so,
Now, can we talk about our qualifications?
if you want to, sure, go ahead.
Steven, you're first.
Alright, well, if you don't know me yet, my name is Steven Mitchell. I am the director and current animator of Neon. It's a fan-made series. I mean, I guess I wouldn't really call it a series just yet because it only has one episode, but we're going to keep on working on it, and it's making some great progress since the first episode. But yeah.
Aren't you also, doing stuff with Mark Zhang also?
I'm doing a little bit of stuff. It's not too much that we're doing projects, but we're helping each other out through advice and assets. But, yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I am Ditto. I'm Andrew DiDomenico. I'm not sure if you've seen Aaron's content before. You've probably seen me somewhere on the channel.
Yeah, he's
I
been on
did
the air a few
1236.
times.
Yeah, working on some stuff, going to school, but mostly secret stuff.
Okay.
Super secret.
We watched Volume 1, and we actually recorded a different podcast that we had to scrap because it was bad.
It was an
we're gonna
abomination.
We're going to be better this time because I have an outline, so hopefully that's going to keep us on track. Okay, so... first thing on the outline for the Volume 1 rewatch. I just want to ask a question. Going into the whole rewatch thing, what do you think is going to be your favorite volume? Is it still going to be I think both of you say Volume 3's the best, right?
Oh,
I
definitely.
love Volume 3. I think it's fantastic with animation. It's the peak of RWBY, really.
Everything
Do you
goes down
think-
at Volume 3.
Do you think
Yeah.
that that's going to change by the end of the rewatch, or are you predicting that you're pretty much going to stay the same?
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna stay the same. I like Volume 2, but not as much as 3.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Okay, so for me, and I know I'm gonna get flack from both of you on this, Volume 2 is still my favorite, and Volume 3 comes a little bit lower than that, and there are reasons that I'll get into when talking about both of those volumes, but I was actually really, really dreading watching Volume 1. I did not remember it as fondly once other volumes came out, but now we are going to talk about how Volume 1 has fared overall, and yeah. Okay, so overall, I think Volume 1 is actually a lot, more underrated than I gave it credit for. I think that there are problems to it, but it also has, a really great personality, and I personally think that what it does good outweighs what it does poorly.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think the pros and cons of Volume 1 are?
Oh, well, obviously, the pacing in the second half is absolutely terrible. It just, it starts going really down in energy halfway through and doesn't really pick up back to an acceptable place until the last episode. But, yeah, the animation, I really, really love it. Despite all of its, flaws and jank, I think the animation in Volume 1 still succeeds at what it tries to do. Somebody else take the torch. I'm floundering up here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Eric, go ahead.
The animation's really great. For what it was, for how limited it was with budget and everything, and like although the other volumes surpassed it in quality animation, it can't beat how much it was such a small staff at the time. It's incredible that they got an entire season done. And with what quality they have with the fight scenes and everything.
I actually think that it's like better than like I think independently of like taking budget into consideration and like team size in consideration, I think it fared like better overall than I thought it did going into it. Like it set out to accomplish a thing and it very like effectively accomplished that thing. And there were some like problems along the way with like learning curve because this is like the first time RT had ever done anything like this. But I really, really enjoyed. I enjoyed it. Somebody else, please.
I was just gonna say.
I'm so tired.
All right,
Gosh, man.
Are we gonna move on to the problem in the entire volume?
What do you mean?
Problem.
You mean that? Yeah.
The
Okay. First, okay. I'm going down the checklist here. We've sort of been talking about it for the last couple of minutes. A question that I really want to answer here is the animation in Volume 1 really bad?
No.
Because a lot of people have been, like, really criticizing it as time has gone by, and, like, smoother and more effective animation has been produced from the series. Saying that, like, all of these terrible things about Volume 1's animation, and it has aged pretty poorly in the 3 years that it's been out.
Is it?
But I think that, like...
I'm sorry. I was just gonna ask.
I think that it's...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask: is it like mainly the clipping, or is it like is it clunky at times? Like what kind of what are they saying about like how bad the animation is?
Well, usually they just, like, go on about how clunky it is, yeah. And also, like, the model quality, but kind of to a lesser extent than the rest of the criticisms about the, like, animation itself. But, yeah, mainly people are, like, criticizing it from lack of smoothness. But here's the thing. Okay, so... when you guys look at animation, what's, like, the one thing that you look at that you judge an animation by? Technical cutout, yeah. We're back. What were we talking about just now?
Animation quality.
Yeah,
Animation quality, yeah. So when you guys judge animation, what do you look for most?
I look for like if you can believe it or not. Like there's a huge difference between okay, this animation is, it's smooth, it's nice, it's pristine, it's whatever. It's like realistic. Then there's like, the classic anime kind of animation where it's like, okay, it's kind of choppy here and there, but you can still tell where it's going. And then there's like Gmod and SFM kind of animations where it's like, oh my god, what is going on? This person's face should not be distorting this way, and yet they're going to the maximum of disturbing levels kind of animation.
Yeah, like there's some like I don't know why people are calling it bad. You can't call it bad. You have to, if you really want to see bad animation, go to I hate everything, IHE, search for the worst. You'll see some atrocities on there. Just because the animation is
let's keep it on track.
But
though.
no,
okay,
I'm just saying like the animation is good. It's not up to par with like what came out afterwards, but it's good.
Yeah, it's not Disney, but it's not terrible.
Okay, so throat. Okay, so what I look for in animation more than anything is absolutely personality. I want to get what the animator is trying to give me, and there also obviously needs to be effort to give the audience something, but that's why I like a lot of anime that don't particularly have smooth animation or realistic animation. because it still conveys like an energy and a personality that I just really enjoy. And I think Volume 1 does that especially well. Especially considering like all of the technical limitations that they were working with and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it fares up pretty well. Okay, so let's see. Fiverr's back, so I'm gonna add on to the group
memes
call.
cause depression.
They do not.
Oh my god.
Yep, that is the screen name.
I love Harambe and Harambe loves me.
Hell yeah.
Welcome back.
Hello. Okay. So,
Hello.
we've been going for a little bit. Introduce yourself.
Oh, goodness me.
You better not, or we're gonna cut you from the podcast.
If you're gonna not cut out.
For good. Dun dun dun.
Okay, so we would now like to welcome to the podcast because he's
yes.
back. Ironic memes
It's
cause
the features
depression.
from the internet, mainly based on Twitter.
Okay, so we've been talking about... Okay. Yeah, okay, so we've been talking about the show overall and the volume overall, and we've been discussing the animation Volume 1. Do you think it's actually bad, or do you think that it conveys what it wants to and is, like, actually effective in conveying that?
Well, no, it's not bad if you take into account that it's animated by one. It was animated mainly by one person. Monty did most of it himself. You can't exactly say it's bad.
Well, no, there was like more people that they brought in for. I think they were working with like, I think no less than 10 people, but Monty mainly only worked on the fights.
Yeah,
And there were a few other people doing dialogue scenes, but it was still a very small team.
exactly. Like, you can't exactly say it's bad when what they've done is they've made it effectively do exactly what they want it to do without having any flaws. You can't exactly say that they should focus more on making the animation better and making the story less if they're getting across what they want to.
Yeah, and that actually transitions to the next point that we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the writing. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room. We need to talk about the worst section in the entirety of RWBY.
Jean
The Jean arc. Yep, not John's character, but specifically
Jean.
the Jean arc.
It was so bad.
Okay,
Okay,
so I felt like the energy was like, actually, you gonna be okay there? You gonna be okay there? Are you gonna be okay there? Okay, let's move on. Okay,
I'm dying on the inside.
Okay, so
what a surprise.
So I think the energy and the pacing was actually a lot better than like people continuously say Volume 1 is in the first 5 episodes. Yeah. And then it sort of started to dip with the Weiss and RWBY at school episode. But it still had enough going for it to where it could still bounce back from that. But then it just, as soon as it got into the Jean getting bullied section, all of the energies just...
It just turned into, like, the classic, okay, this is now just a school anime kind of scenario.
If not worse, like American style.
Yeah.
It's not even a harem.
It's not even that anymore.
I mean, like, there's nothing bad with it, like, transitioning into, like, a few filler episodes. A lot of anime do that. They come back from action, and then they have, like, a few episodes. Then they have a few episodes. Okay, I'll talk for a second, then you can talk. They have a few filler episodes to get the pacing back on track and, like, give the animators more time to finish the more graphically intensive scenes later on in the season. A lot of anime do that. And I think that it just went on a little bit too long.
Like, they didn't have enough time for the rest of the plot, and it felt like a majority of the plot was doing, like, all the filler.
Yeah. One thing that I, like, do really need to, like, say about the Jean arc, even though it did, like, start some threads that would be carried on and like more accentuated throughout other volumes. They did absolutely nothing with Team Cardinal. I'm so disappointed. Like they could have built up.
Did.
Yeah, they could have built up a really effective C team, and they just like left it there.
It's like, they could have been really good villains, and they're, just the rowdy bunch, just,
They could have at least been like chaotic good,
Yeah. But like they weren't anything. Past volume 2, do we even see them in volume 3? I don't think we see them in volume 3.
barely
some fight somewhere.
Do we see them in volume 2?
No, yeah, we do.
We see them a couple times in volume 2,
Cardinal.
but still like not enough.
We see Cardin on the Breach, I think, episode, and he does this one fight or whatever, and that's it. And we see.
Does he? I don't remember that, but I guess he was just so forgettable in that scene that I just forgot that he exists. See, that's why I really love where the manga is potentially going. Like, because the manga that Shiro Miwa's doing in Ultra Jump is going into its own arc soon, and we'll talk about that later when we talk about more RWBY news. But I'm really excited for potentially what they could do with Cardin's character, because they did already like have some character building stuff in the first couple chapters of the RWBY manga. So I really want some form of RWBY media to deliver on like the promises that Volume 1 has in setting up sort of this good C team.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm betting on the books rather than the manga. The whole novel thing.
No, I doubt this is going to happen.
Are they doing like written? We'll talk about that later. Okay. So.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything else anybody wants to say about the writing? Or
I was just going to say, like, okay.
The filler allowed for character development for characters that otherwise wouldn't have had it. To be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's what filler is really. Like it allows for things that you can't really do in the action intensive like. We gotta move here and there and everywhere, like things that you were doing.
I wouldn't necessarily call it filler. It was part of, filler is like.
Well, I mean,
filler is like.
Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is.
In Bleach, that's filler.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I'm not talking about filler arcs. I'm talking about filler episodes. Like, nothing. Like, you could take it out and it wouldn't really mess anything up.
Separate from the main characters.
Yeah. And like, obviously there are some things that get, expounded upon in later volumes, but for the most part, you could take the majority of those episodes out and lose absolutely nothing. And it's just, like, I think the majority of people's problems when it comes to Volume 1's pacing probably stem from, like, that whole area and just, like, misinterpreting all of it as that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
To be fair, if you take out the filler in Volume 1, you lose Velvet. That's not an option. An option.
Okay, so
that was the longest silence between a laugh.
Yeah. Let's move on to talk about a little bit of the acting.
Acting's good.
Because I feel that like they mature into these characters as time goes on, and that's why the performances later in the series are as good as they are. But I felt that they did a very good job of like being these characters.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like I was listening to Lindsay or Kara like voice Ruby and Weiss. I was just listening to Ruby and Weiss.
Yeah. I remember early on when Ruby was coming out. I was at that RTX, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, the Ruby sounds like high pitched, and they sound so bad." I'm like, Ruby sounded really high pitched to me, like the first time we heard her voice was the Yang trailer, the yellow trailer, and it was like so everybody was like, "Oh no, this is gonna be rough." But then they came out of the gate and everybody sounded good. Everybody sounded great. They got better over time, obviously, like Aaron was saying, but it was great.
Except for Miles.
I thought Miles was good.
Listen, okay, I have a huge problem with Miles as we're gonna get into this series. But it was really refreshing. It was really refreshing, like, hearing Miles play a character and not Miles playing Miles wanting to get you to notice that he's playing this character.
Fuck it now.
It's just, like,
Miles,
it feels... because I had been following Miles' work because I was a big fan of like what he did prior to RWBY, like the stuff that he did on the side, like writing for the RWBY miniseries stuff and some writing for RWBY 10. So I was really interested in him, and then RWBY 11 started coming out, and I didn't I'm not sure if it was just a lack of exposure to Miles' voice. But in both RWBY 11 and RWBY Volume 1, I did not notice that he was voicing those characters until I checked the credits.
Right. To be fair, though, if we're off topic of RWBY for a second, Miles did a good job voicing Felix in Red vs. Blue.
Oh, yeah.
Liked
Oh,
that character
yes.
a lot.
Felix
In
was
terms
great.
of, he conveys very well.
I liked his earlier stuff. I liked his earlier Felix stuff later, and I mean, like, he does, like, I don't want to, like, give off the wrong impression. He's a competent actor, but I feel like the stuff he was doing in 2013 and 2014 was a little bit better than what he's, like, gradually seeped into, where it just
I don't know. I
sort of
think
sounds
he's
like
doing
the
great.
same voice, but with, like, different dialogue. I don't know. That's just me.
Right.
But yeah.
Then again, that's like majority of actors.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess, to be sort of fair. Okay, so we've talked about the acting for a while, and how long are we into the... Oh, we're only, like, halfway through this recording. Okay, so, we're doing good on time. Let's start talking about the soundtrack, because holy fucking shit, Jeff Williams.
Yes.
Does
That
it need any more
soundtrack.
than that?
Oh my god.
We don't need to
We
talk
just
about
need
it
to
anymore. It's
say
only fucking
Jeff
shit.
Williams. Okay, so I'm such a huge fan of Jeff Williams' music, and I think that, like, Volume 1's soundtrack, and I have the physical copy because I'm a nerd that I'm holding right now. I think this is probably the definitive Jeff Williams soundtrack. I think this is the best work he's ever done. Like, even in RWBY, I think Volume 1 is definitely stands out amongst the group as the best soundtrack. You guys feel the same way?
I would probably agree, actually. I'm like the other soundtracks
Oh, yeah,
are great.
definitely.
They're very
Definitely,
good,
like-
but you know,
Yeah, it's
nothing
sort
compares
of...
to it.
Who else? Because I always mess this up. Because to be
Like-
fair, Jeff Williams did not solely work on the soundtrack. He also had help from Steve Goldshine and Alex Abraham, who are also really wonderful composers that add a lot to the series. And I think the three of them working together on these albums, like, gives the soundtrack sort of this, like, you know, this element that can't really be reproduced. This is probably the finest soundtrack to, you know, something that I have in, like, recent memory.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable
Jeff
silence.
Williams, Jeff Williams, and everyone else who works on the RWBY soundtrack, they come up with a very distinctive sound. Even listening to the Laser Team soundtrack, you can tell who's worked on what, and you can tell when it's Jeff Williams. You know, even in a massive mix of other artists,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of the definitive sound of Rooster Teeth at this point.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, he's really, like, helped give them sort of, like, this sound identity to where, like, I think I could listen to anything that he's written over the past few years and for the most part be able to pick out, like, from any piece of his compositions, like, this is from this this project and this scene on this project, because it's, like, such a distinct, like, he's that's
Bam, right there.
You nailed it. So there's not much else to say.
10 out of 10.
What's your favorite? What's everyone's favorite song on the soundtrack for Volume 1?
Oh God.
I May
No.
Fall.
Yeah, I would
I May
agree.
Fall.
I mean,
Well, then to be
I
fair,
mean, like,
think
I actually didn't like that one, like, the first couple times I heard it, but it really grew on me over time.
which one?
The I May Fall song.
I'm gonna go with the Red
I
Like
think
Roses.
another thing is
Especially for
yeah,
like
another thing,
when
yeah,
the
like all of
flamenco
these sort of
guitar comes out, like that's freaking that was cool.
I can't name it anything. I mean, it's everything you guys say. I'm like, yeah, that's my favorite. No, that's my favorite. It's just so good.
I go back and forth.
yeah, like I think anything that isn't rock in the RWBY soundtrack seems to get shunted behind because Gold is a good song.
Oh, I
You
love
know.
Gold.
I haven't listened
And
to
so
Gold
is
a lot.
Wings.
so
It's probably
catchy.
I've
And this
listened to it probably the least out of any song on this
It
soundtrack.
really is. I always associate Gold with Velvet because that was like she had her concept art in the or her silhouette in the credits, and that's how the song was revealed. But I think I can't remember. Is it about I think it's about Ruby and Yang, maybe, or maybe Pyrrha and Juon.
I think it might be about
I
Pyrrha.
can't remember.
Like, to be fair, it's about, like,
Yeah,
dying, so it's probably about Pyrrha. Probably, a lot of these are actually probably about Pyrrha.
Sad face. Rest in peace, Mira.
Rip.
Like, yeah. Oh, God.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Phone falling out. Oh, God. Please don't be broken. Okay, it's not broken. Okay, I think my favorite song, like, it bounces back and forth between a few. It's usually either From Shadows or the Yellow Trailer mix of I Burn. And, like, second place usually bounces around between Red Like Roses and Mirror Mirror. But yeah, all of the trailer songs are probably my favorite. But I think that's also because the trailers are probably my favorite part of Volume 1.
really?
Oh, I didn't add that
They're
to the
great.
list. We didn't talk about the trailers. Did you guys go back and rewatch the trailers when you did your rewatch?
I think
No.
that you have the best way to watch it though, and I totally didn't realize that I should do. Like Aaron, whenever he watches RWBY Volume 1, he rewatches the trailers before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't think you get the full Volume 1 experience unless you do that.
I've seen the trailers too many times. I can recount.
I mean, like,
more. So
How many times is
oh,
Penny?
too many times? Too many times?
well, look.
I
There-
challenge
Hey,
that.
don't
I
take me out
challenge
of
that,
context.
sir.
These words. Is it possible to sum in a sentence?
Don't take me out of context. I've seen them a lot of times, so I can recount them. God,
Jeez.
I'm gonna get murdered today.
I could probably
This fucking
describe
is
every
like drink
movement
now.
in the trailers, like, by heart.
Oh no, not you don't want to go.
Oh, yeah,
over there with
absolutely.
that
I'm
Brexit.
gonna kick your ass.
Oh shit! He's gonna stab me with his katana.
Oh, God. Let's not talk about that. Let's get back on track. Okay, so... But, like, I've seen the trailers and Volume 1 so many times that, like, I could absolutely recount, like, beat for beat what happens, like, from memory without looking at it. Because I'm such a nerd that when I got the Blu-ray, like, the year it came out, I watched it every day for a month. And sometimes twice a day with director's commentary.
Oh, what a
Because I'm that
nerd.
much of a nerd. That's how much of a nerd I am.
I don't know, but it is it's like literally saddest man ever.
I am. I don't
So
think
sad.
I don't think there's any contest in that. I am. Okay, but let's move on from talking about how pathetic I am, and move on to talking about the art direction and aesthetic behind Volume 1. Okay, so I'm just gonna say it. The backgrounds are way too vibrant. Like, they draw the eye way too much, right?
I don't think so. I think my biggest problem with the aesthetics of Volume 1 is that everyone is so fucking pale.
Well, I mean, you know, if it's an anime, it's got to be pale, right? That's
Well,
how-
no. Like, like there's like it just seems like it's not even like
We're losing ironic memes.
No, we
Whoops.
didn't.
Are you
Piranha
back?
Shit.
Hell yeah. Nah, I'll tell you
Oh,
what happened
God.
there.
Okay.
I've been running my laptop.
Okay, so back on track.
But
Go.
Back
I
on
was
track.
talking
What
about
were we
my
talking about?
problems with it.
Oh yeah, you hate that everyone's so
super pale. Like a little bit of color would have been nice. Like just like a little bit, like just a little bit red. Like in Volume 4, the trailer, everyone's got a bit more color to it, and I really like
that's the thing, and we'll talk about it when we talk about it later in the podcast. I actually don't like
Repair.
I don't like everything.
No,
everything looking
I
so
really
basic.
don't.
I know you're super white, Aaron, but
No, I'm not.
Some of us not.
Listen, that's not the problem.
we get it. You're voting Trump.
I'm not.
Let's not make it political, please.
Let's talk about something else. I actually really liked one of the things that I like the most about Volume 1 is that it uses like 2D elements within the show. Like probably one of my favorite visual gags is when Ruby like becomes a smaller chibi version of herself and starts floating around.
No, the best one's when she's running through the forest.
And they
trying to
have
figure
the
out who her
RTAA.
And yeah, they had the little RTA sketches of all the characters up at the top.
That's just like,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's so adorable. Oh my god. It's
Literally, it was the best inside joke.
I want to
They
point
don't
out.
do that much anymore.
I want to point out in Volume 1, of course, Episode 2, where the reporter comes up and they're talking about Torchwick, and it's like, wait a second, these look like legit 2D animations here, and it's like, wait, what?
yeah, they actually did. Well, it's not really 2D animation in like the purest sense. They didn't do lip sync for it. They just had different mouth movements for the reporter and just like played them at random times. But it still like got the point across. Obviously, like I think it was Patrick Rodriguez who was doing the art behind those things, and his art is really, really good.
No, yeah, I was just pointing out like the cool contrast between Ruby and Yang being right there.
Ruby being CG and there being 2D elements in that CG. Yeah. What else? Oh yeah, they also had 2D in the Blake backstory section. I
like that. That looks pretty nice.
It's such a good section. It's so pretty. And oh man, I didn't even remember until just now. The opening section is also in 2D. And that opening section looks
You know what? We should probably
beautiful.
talk about the opening now.
Yeah.
As well. We haven't really addressed that because it's a very big point that comes up later on in the series.
Yeah.
Real fast. So spoilers for Volume 4.
Spoilers for Volume
3.
4. Well,
And
Volume
4.
3,
Volume 3,
the end, and then Volume 4. Hopefully, maybe, who knows? But the narrator, they did a really nice job of, like, because you hear Jen Taylor's voice and you think, like, oh, that's definitely a good guy, right?
Yeah.
And they're talking, like, about stuff that's happening, like it's, the good stuff is happening. And it's really, they did a switch around at the end of Volume 3 where it's actually the narrator is actually like the series villain. Maybe, we don't know.
Salem. Her name is Salem.
I'm pretty sure she's not a good guy. I mean,
She's basically
we don't know.
a walking grim, dude.
We don't know, but what I'm saying is I'm not sure whether or not it's the series villain or just like another villain.
No,
Who knows?
that's dude.
I'm not sure
That
she's a
is
bad guy.
series villain
Look,
material,
quotes.
dude.
I want to watch you burn our spin. Not a bad guy.
Dude, okay, so I had so much. I spent a lot of time like whenever I watch RWBY, I got confused about the opening because I would always hear the first person talking, and then I thought that was for the longest time. I thought that was Roman Torchwick talking at the end. I didn't know that was Osmond.
yes.
You didn't get that was. You didn't get that was
No,
Osmond?
for a while. But
I got it immediately that it was Osmond.
But one thing as well.
I had to explain that to someone who
is that I am so curious about their relationship. Like, how do they seem like they're on that like they play like how Magneto and Professor X play like chess together. I feel like they're like
because
that.
they don't watch X-Men or read X-Men. but go on.
I just get that feeling, but at the same time, they're so at each other's throats, and they're obviously completely opposite. And she has active plans to kill him. Like, it's just like so crazy. Like it's like the chess pieces. It's just, I just feel like there's a lot of stuff that was laying down in the first like 6 episodes of that show. There was so much laid down that it's gonna get crazy within the next few seasons volumes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see where they're gonna go. Even though we'll probably get into why I'm less excited than I once was later in a different episode. But anyways, let's move on to talk about. Well, there's 2 things we could talk about right now. If you guys want, we could talk about some shot composition and editing stuff.
No.
I'm not sure what the consensus is on
editing.
that.
Go fast.
Editing real quick? Okay.
Um,
So, first, I want to say that the editing overall I thought was, like, pretty good.
Why?
Especially in Monty's scenes, because he's just such an excellent editor that he knows, like, exactly when to cut and where to place what shots, and it's just, like, his editing's so good. But that doesn't save some kind of subpar editing from going in there.
I'm pointing out the scene that I've been preaching about
Yeah.
forever.
He will
there
not
is
shut
one
up about
scene-
it.
I hate this scene.
What
So
scene?
there's a scene where John has just been named the team leader, and everyone's cheering, and then Pierre gives this little kidding like punch thing, and John falls to the ground for like 2 minutes and sitting there, and then it cuts back to Pierre awkwardly, and it's just
And it
holding
holds
on
for too
everything.
long.
It's just like even like I wasn't even too into video production then, and even I was just like, what the fuck is this gonna
Why
be
are
a
you
thing?
holding it so long?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so bad. I'm
There's a
sorry.
few shots like that where they just hold a little bit too long,
But that's the
or
biggest
just like
one.
cut a little bit too early. One of the things that like there's this scene in I think the second episode, where like it's after Jean helps Ruby up off the ground after she explodes, and they like pan down like way too long before they actually start the conversation. It's like you couldn't have got a little bit of that out. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
It was-
Ugh.
that scene was pretty awkward. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I know they're both supposed to be like socially awkward characters, but it's like, you don't need to make it that obvious. I'm just saying.
yeah. I like that one scene though. That really gets me. There's another scene that we also were talking about last time. That was really a bit obvious
there?
that we really hated. Besides that one. Oh
What
God, I
was it?
can't remember.
I think those were the only
Huh.
ones.
Just listen. They extended the time to appeal to the to appeal to the YouTube algorithm. They need the extra ad from you.
Oh, absolutely. They needed that extra ad revenue dough
that extra like
in their cut up like
3
5
seconds.
minutes, in their cut up 5-minute things. Actually, maybe we should like. Nah, I'll save it for next time. Never mind. Okay, so one thing I actually think we skipped a little bit, and it reminded me because we were talking about character development a second ago. Is what is everyone's favorite character in Volume 1?
Oh.
Oh, okay. Wait, what was the question again?
What was everyone's favorite character in Volume 1?
Volume 1 favorite character.
Mine was absolutely Ruby. I'm just gonna say that. She was like so relatable to me until
Why? Because you're
Al
pale
gets-
white.
Nice.
Jesus Christ.
Bring it back
Well,
around.
it's like
Beer, beer, beer.
I mean,
wow.
Shots.
they depicted like social awkwardness in a way that was pretty relatable to me, where it's like you're socially
Wait, wouldn't
awkward
John
and
be way
you
more relatable
want to
to
fit
you?
in, but no. Ruby's absolutely more relatable to me, where she tries to fit in, but she also sucks at fitting in. And just
who
like
just unzip their dick.
I don't know, there was something really. Oh my god, we lost ironic memes again.
Well, at least I
Harambe,
won't
where'd
have
you
to
go?
He didn't whip his dick out in time for Harambe, so Harambe cut him off. Hashtag dicks out for Harambe.
But yeah, I felt Ruby was extremely relatable to me, and I like there are a few things that like I can't remember that I was gonna say
She's
about why she
relatable.
was so relatable. But like they did a really good job until the Jean arc, where she just immediately becomes confident, and she stays that way for the rest of the series.
Well, here's the
Like she
thing.
never
I
gets
think
less
she.
confident again.
Okay, I'll kind of argue with you on this one. Not argue. You get what I'm saying.
Jeez,
So,
ironic memes come
I
back.
think that after her spat with Weiss,
Whoops.
she kind of like realized that she doesn't have to be afraid anymore, because the only person who she was really worried about was Weiss, because she really cares about her team.
Well, no, she was worried. She felt like she was socially anxious in general, and that was extremely relatable to me because I'm also extremely awkward in public. And I don't know, there's just like something where she just felt way too confident past episode 6, where it's like I felt she like the point of episode 6 was to make her more humble, because like her overconfidence is what led to the spat with Weiss. And like I felt like that's where the character development was going, where she was going to be a little bit more humble and quick to learn. But she was way too quick to learn.
Okay, yeah,
and
I get that.
Like, well, I mean, she wasn't overconfident, but she was just like,
I would say my
I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, overall, I would say she is still my
Next
favorite character
person.
this volume, because she did have the most development in this volume.
Oh. My
No.
favorite
Next person,
character
yeah, let's
in
go.
Volume 1 was Weiss. Literally on the flip side, I loved Weiss because she was so cocksure and so blunt with Ruby.
I don't know
It was the
means, but I
best.
love it.
Cocksure just means, she was so. She knew that she was
She was an
rich.
asshole.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I own this place. Get out of here, peasants.
Yeah, right. Like, my father owns this place. I have money. I'm smart. I don't need your help. I'm freaking
I'm
a
the
strong,
best.
independent, rich woman that don't need no man.
But I also
I
like
have
how
money, yeah?
she got sort of humble after episode 6, and that like felt a lot more like the character development that Ruby needed, but also something
Yeah.
that Weiss really needed too.
Yeah, she got a lot better
Yeah.
after that.
Weiss is still my
Except for her
favorite
racism,
character.
Jesus.
Along with
Just like overall.
Shh. That never happened. She was never racist. It was her father.
Oh no.
Sure it
It was
was.
her
I mean,
father,
she didn't say
his
that
gender.
Faunus were filthy degenerates. No, that never happened.
No, she
It
just
was
thinks
her
that we need to
father.
increase border security. That's all.
Listen, I
You have to build a
I like the thing that I like about Weiss's character in Volume 1 is that she realizes that she was perhaps a little bit too mean and discriminatory, and she corrects that behavior. And
sure.
the relationship between Blake and Weiss gets better as time goes on.
Yeah, I feel like Weiss
because
Weiss
they both
after-
come to an
after Volume
understanding,
one,
and
Weiss-
that felt really
I
great.
feel like at Volume 1, Weiss got a lot better. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here. I'm gonna try to guess Steven's favorite character. I'm gonna guess that it's Penny.
I would say, of course, Ruby. Not to just kind of stray the path or go differently in the path, but like since of course this is the first volume, it makes sense to have Ruby as the direct focus and main development process of the character because she's the main character. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got because I think Aaron pretty much had all the details beforehand.
And this is where clever editor me edits out the part where you were joking and I looked like an idiot and just jumps to this.
Lies. I'll bring it up later in an intense conversation.
I don't know. Okay, so Andrew, did you list your favorite character yet?
I did not. Thank you
Go
for
ahead.
asking. So patient. I would say mine was probably. You know what? I'm gonna go the opposite of you guys with character development. My favorite character was just Pyrrha. I just enjoyed
Pyrrha?
her character because I
Blame
kind of I feel like I've been at that point as well. Like we're like,
You know,
hey, I'm trying to be nice to you, and people are so oblivious.
Yeah.
Mhm. You know what?
He had
I
his
kind of
own
want to point
job.
this out. That one of the first conversations that Pura has, I think, is with Weiss, right, in that locker room.
Yeah.
And so Pura at one point says, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to let
Let the
like,
chips
you know,
fall where they may.
yeah, let the chips fall where they may." And if anybody's familiar with that term, it's like she's going to not, or yeah, she's pretty much going to bend the rules and try to cheat her way so that she gets she
Is
gets what
that
she
what
wants.
that means?
She's
I'm pretty
throwing
sure that's the opposite of what
spear
that
at
means.
John and impaling him to the tree so she knows exactly where he is.
I'm pretty sure
This
that's the
is going
opposite
off
of what that
the rails,
term
but the
means.
complete opposite. We found out the resident funny man of this podcast.
No.
Okay.
Get the Dragon Balls
Stop.
now.
Jeez.
My God.
Let's get back on track. Okay, so we've talked about everything else on my checklist except for one huge thing that we still haven't really talked about in depth yet. Let's talk about Monty's stuff. And Shane's stuff also, but more so Monty's stuff.
Does it really? Do we really? Do you say anything? It's
Yeah,
fucking
I mean, like,
amazing.
it's basically the same thing that we were saying with the soundtrack, where it's like, basically you just need to say the name, and it's implied to be awesome.
Okay, so I'm going into animation. I'm nowhere near as versed as like Steven. I am light years away from where Monty ever was.
Well, to
And
be fair,
just-
the entire basis of Monty's career was showing people that anyone could do what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that, like, as of right now. But like he just just trying to keep track of it. It's just insanely
Well, I
well
mean,
done and well
yeah.
polished.
Something that I really love about Monty's stuff is that he knew how to pack visual information into his scenes really effectively. Like, his stuff moved really fast, but you never felt like you were missing anything because he was always showing pertinent information. Like,
He's the opposite
I
of
don't
Michael
think there's
Bay.
a single shot. Yeah, I don't think there's a single shot in the Red trailer or any fight of Monty's but like Red trailer is where I can probably point out specifically where there is not a single shot that is wasted. His stuff just fucking blows my mind. It's just,
What I find interesting is that there was a lot of RWBY fights that were made way before Ruby's time, and Monty
Yeah.
actually he used the fights that he's done beforehand, and then just kind of merged
copies
that
and,
with
Yeah.
pastes them with new animation.
poser
Yeah,
thing.
that was like something really cool about Poser is that you could, because of the way that Poser works, you can like paste a new animation onto a model really easily. So even if like something that was made all the way back when he was doing Dead Fantasy, he could transpose that and put it
Yeah, I
onto
know it.
Yang, or put it onto Blake, put it onto anybody, and he did that a lot. And I think he said, like, the nunchuck animation for Sun's fight was done, like, years before he ever had the idea for RWBY. It's just so mind-blowing. Oh, my God.
I love the sun fight
Yeah,
scenes.
because it's
like,
all
that's
done
one of my
so
favorite.
well.
He polished, like, every frame, and he knew how to use force perspective so effectively. It's like, man, we could probably go on for, like, an hour. Like, we could probably fill up a whole podcast just talking about his work in Volume 1.
Probably could, quite honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what was everybody's favorite fight in Volume 1, counting the trailers also?
the one with Ruby and Juniper versus the Deathstalker and the Nevermore.
Oh yeah.
That's gotta be my favorite.
That's
Are we all in
fight.
consensus on this? Okay, I think that's the definitive fight for Volume 1. Man, it's just got, like, so many good things going on for it. It's just, like, it has such a wonderful interest curve. I'm planning to do a video about it pretty soon, analyzing the interest curve of that fight, and probably doing a lot of other stuff with his work. But, oh my god, I'm just, his stuff is so great. I also really like the first thing that I ever saw of RWBY was the Yellow trailer, and like that's definitely in contention for like top fight for me. But I think the Nevermore fight edges it out just slightly.
Yeah, because it's just more expansive. And even in Like, you can tell that it's sort of cut off. It's sort of a boxed off environment. Like, it's boxed off by the rocks and the mountains, but it still feels expansive in terms of what's happening in the fight scene.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else want to say anything about more of Monty's stuff in Volume 1 or Shane's stuff in Volume 1, or have we exhausted this topic?
I already know. Quest, I don't know Shane's stuff that well. I don't know what is and isn't Shane's stuff, and I know
his stuff is like really hard to dissect because there was no animator commentary for Volume 1. There was only director commentary, and he only stepped in the last episode. He definitely did the Penny fight. Like, as soon as Penny shows up, that's when he took over the fight animation for the last episode. And he did a lot of the stuff on the black and yellow trailer, and also did some modeling for the white trailer. But, like, and if you have a really keen eye, you can pick out his cinematography, because he has such great fucking cinematography, especially in the black and yellow trailers. But yeah, it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what is his work when it's dialogue stuff, because it's a lot less movement-oriented.
it's more ambiguous because it's movement.
Yeah, a lot of his, like, signatures are not there. In the same way that, like, if Monty were to, like, do a regular dialogue scene, a lot of his trademarks would probably also not be quite as visible, because a lot of it has to do with, like, the motion behind it. But yeah, okay, so anybody have any final thoughts on this topic?
No. I mean, I guess we could drag it on, but I think we can go words, stuff, things. Next one.
Okay, so the final thing we need to talk about now that we've been talking about it for like an hour. Okay, so the volume overall, after we've had this discussion, what are your thoughts?
It's great.
It aged a lot better than I think we all thought it would be.
Yeah, like, even if, like, I've been trying to get people who I know into RWBY. All of them, after watching the first episode, have all said about how they hate the animation, that they really dislike the animation. Apparently, it's ugly to them, but you've got to admit that it does perceive what it wants to perceive in a really, really unique and, well, just its own way. It does it very well. Like, it's, you know, the animation isn't the best, but you can tell that the plot elements are there just by looking at the animation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I would say, like, I really was dreading going back to it, but as soon as I, like, started watching it again, I just fell back in love with RWBY again, and it's just such a great, like, you know, feeling to have, like, going back through this volume again, and I hope that I'm gonna feel just as great about going back through volumes 2 and 3. I would say that basically what everybody else is saying, that it has aged a lot better than I gave it credit for, and it's just got such a great personality to it. Oh man. Okay, so I will see you guys next time. Thank you all so much for watching. We don't have a sign off yet, so does somebody come up with something?
It's also a gun.
Yeah, this podcast is also a gun. Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye. I don't know how to end the video. I'm so sorry.